Welcome to Michelle Humes Live, and welcome to my fabulous friend, mentor, guest extraordinaire, Sammie Knight.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank
Well,
you. It's good to
I
be here.
started. Sammie, I know from my preview post yesterday in letting everybody know that you're going to be on the program that many people are going to be tuning in and super excited to hear from you and learn from you. I am so excited that you're here, and thank you for your time. Are you going hunting today?
Actually, I am. I'm sitting in my field office, and I'm looking at a herd of cattle, a windmill, a water tank, and my office view is a skyline that just never stops. So, who wouldn't like to do this, right?
I think it's fabulous. I was going to show the picture you sent me. It is gorgeous where you are. So where are you located, Sammie?
I'm in South Texas in a little town named Sarita. Um, South of Corpus, about 60 miles.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
it's nice.
so do you go there quite often?
I do. It's a lease that been a part of for, gosh, a long time, 25 years. And I have clients down. Oops, sorry, dropped my phone. I have clients down here with me, and I've set them up this morning and pulled back, and I thought, what a great way to start the day is drink coffee with Michelle.
You know, it's not the first time we've had coffee together, and it's certainly not going to be the last.
Bingo. Exactly.
If only Bailey's was in the coffee.
Some of us, I'm going to hold this phone still in a minute. Y'all bear with me. Some of us have containers that might have a little in it.
Oh, Sammie, you are so fabulous. So we just recently went to Mexico together. Not just the two of us. We went with a group of entrepreneurs. The lovely and talented Mrs. Knight approves. And we got to spend a lot of time together. And so I got the privilege of sitting with you at breakfast, chatting. And as a young entrepreneur, I'm not so young, but young in business, I just love getting to spend time with people who have succeeded at a really high level. So I don't have any prepared questions that I gave you, but I want to start by asking you, what is your number one key to running 11 businesses, owning those all at the same time, and how do you do that on a daily basis with success?
I'm gonna answer that question with just a little bit of a history, but I spent a lifetime early on in corporate America, and loved my jobs that I had and everything that I did, but one thing, and it didn't feel good because the most valuable asset I feel like we have is people.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes in the environment I operated in, people were second thought, not first. And decisions were made that had no heart in them. They just had a bottom line. And we all have to make a profit, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But making a profit with the right people is a lot better and always bigger. And I also found out in corporate America that I wasn't a good employee. I have opinions, and I don't mind sharing them. And if you ask me, I'm gonna probably tell you, and you may not like it. And so I found out I wasn't a good employee. So entrepreneurship was a perfect fit for me. If I tell people that if I'm gonna have to face an SOB in the morning, I want it to be me. So, but I believe that the fortune that I've or the call it the blessings that I've been able to enjoy is due to people. I've got some incredibly great people that I get to work with, and that's how I'm able to come out and enjoy a little outing in the field because I trust them. And
Well, I think that that's such a reflection on you as a leader. You know, I know that leadership is not for the faint of heart. And when you start a business and put everything into your business, you really rely on people to be owners with you, right? Because you've put your heart and soul into the business and you're hoping and wanting it to succeed. And the only way to do that is to trust your people and to raise them up and to support them in any way you can. And if they watch this, they will agree that that is a direct reflection on some of your great leadership skills that I know you have.
well, you're nice. You know, when I started my first company, I bought a small real estate company and agency in my hometown, and it had been around for a while, but it only had a handful of agents in it. My number one goal, because like I said, I'd left corporate America and people were so important. My number one goal at that time was to make sure that everybody that worked for me had the opportunity for health insurance. And I didn't slice only the employee or only the employee and a child and all that. It was whatever your need was on insurance, I'm going to cover it. That's how I started. I didn't guarantee anybody I'd pay them a lot of money or we would make millions of dollars, but if they went to the hospital and they needed that insurance, that was my goal. And it was really a good, it was a better tool than I thought, because I attracted some great people. I've also not lost anybody in all these years, and so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm getting a little older. Still more than a pretty face, though. If you don't believe it, just ask me.
I think that's what the line says. I know.
And I look around at the staff and all, and they're aging nicely. So I'm going through the next phase is developing that next generation, so that we can do the handoff and all. I believe in walking in the front door of the buildings that we operate in with a smile on my face, and there's absolutely nothing we can't resolve. The one thing we can never win at, though, is if we choose to complain and take shots at people, and I don't tolerate that. But people are the value. That's the asset. That's how we built all of our businesses, is purely on the people.
Yeah. So backtracking a little bit, you live in Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi.
I do.
And you own 11 businesses.
I do.
And you are a owner of Remax franchises, correct? How many do you own?
Just
one with
set up the fourth. Yeah.
Oh, the fourth. Okay.
Yep. And then we have a mortgage business. We have a property management business. We have an investment business. Have a consulting company. Have an appliance business. Everything I didn't know anything about. I started all of them absolutely with no experience, no knowledge, no idea. I learned everything on the job, and I made monstrous mistakes.
You can relate to that in the room. So I guess for me, being a team leader, and probably a lot of team leaders or real estate agents watching, it's one thing to sell real estate, or it's one thing to run a team or own a brokerage. It's a whole other thing to utilize our side exposure businesses that we could be, and having the guts to say, okay, I'm going to step into mortgage, or I'm going to step into insurance, or I'm going to step into landscaping, whatever it is that comes right along with all of the process from start to finish in real estate. So which one did you do first, and what would you say to someone watching to encourage them in order to take that step in owning their second business?
The first one I did was moving into property management from real estate sales. And, I think that we have to open our eyes and understand that there's a service element out there. We're all in the service business.
Yeah.
And how do I service my client better tomorrow than I did today? And if I'm willing to sell investment property to my client, and they're constantly asking me, "Hey, do you know anybody that can manage the property? Do you, you know?" And I'm referring them to someone else that I don't know how good a job they do. They're asking me, in my opinion, for a reason. It's to say, "You don't." It's just another way to ask. And
Right.
so we kicked the door open on that, and started out with 200 doors. We put two businesses together, 200 doors, and now we have 2,500. But it's all about service. I mean, our business is, how do I make the experience a better experience for my client? And then we find out about, well, I'm having trouble with this mortgage, and the bank's an issue, and well, the only thing I can do is complain or get in the game. So threw the hat in the ring and got in the game.
I have so much admiration for that. And I think that, you and I have talked a lot about my next steps in business, and, you get one going and it's really sturdy with the processes, the systems. It's time to move to the next one. And our slogan at our company is, we're in the people business. We just happen to sell houses. And I'm constantly talking to our team about, be the problem solver. If you're not solving your consumer's problem, you will find yourself with no client. You will find yourself with no consumer, because if you can't solve their problem, why are they coming to you? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you'll just listen, I say this all the time, and we hear this and we read it, but if you'll just listen to what they're saying, they'll tell you what to do.
That's right.
And then you just roll your sleeves up. And the beauty of things like the podcast that you're doing here and the relationships you've built over time is you don't have to know how to do it. You have to know who to call to teach you how to do it.
Right.
And so once again, it's that listening, how do I do this? And when we started our mortgage business, I'll tell you the quick story. I mean, we joined in with Motto on a franchise arrangement. And I asked some of our brokers, I said, look, I need to find the perfect LO. And so all of them said the same person. And then immediately they said, you can't get her, though. And of course, me, I was like, I'm going to lead with my chin on this one. I'm going to pull this rabbit out of the hat. So I went to her and we talked for about 9 months. I was patient and worked it out. And we definitely gave her a piece of the business. And she's just an asset in the business, but a very dear friend now. And I didn't know her 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
But we kind of just gelled. But I can't tell you how important it is to just listen to what they're saying. We so many times run past what we should be listening to. So slow down, take a moment, listen to what they're saying, and remember, every relationship you have with a client, a customer, an associate has tremendous value, and it's an asset of your business. It's just like buying a home as a rental property. That's an asset, and don't screw it up. Mm-hmm. Don't burn it down. I can't emphasize how critical the people aspect is. I love people.
Well, I love this part about listening, because I talk a lot with our team and with other agents about the importance of listening more than you talk. And if you find yourself after a listing appointment or after a buyer consult where they haven't asked questions or they haven't had a lot of time, like you're talking 50, 60, 70% of the time, you've missed your mark, because really you should be able to ask a couple of key questions, and the consumer, by you asking yet another good question, will tell you the entire story from start to finish. They really will. And it doesn't take but asking a few great questions in order to, and then truly listening to the answer and thinking about how am I going to solve this problem? Not what am I going to say next to impress them, or what am I going to say next that makes me look like I'm some kind of expert and they're going to sign on the dotted line. No, solve the problem. If you will just lead with solving the problem every single time, they will fall in. It will fall together, and it's just so much easier. I think sometimes we make things a lot more complicated than they really are. Would you agree?
Oh, totally agree. And you know, the mistakes that I've made, like I say, I've made many in my lifetime, have been so many times have been out of moving too hastily. And you know, there's the cliche out there about smelling the roses. Smell them. They may smell pretty doggone good, you know, and pay attention. So I don't know. I don't know if somebody asked me if you could start over, what would you change? Nothing. Would I be smarter? Yeah, absolutely. Would I make some of the mistakes not quite as often? Yeah, but would I change anything? Nah, not a thing. I'm gonna leave this world one day, and when I do, I'll have that smile on my face. So,
Well, I love and admire about you that at a little bit older than me, you are not thinking about how you're winding down. You're always thinking about how you're going to not only continue to learn and gain knowledge, but that you're willing to teach others. And, that's just been such an, excuse me, asset to me and to so many others that admire you. But because you could be out of the game, Sammie. I mean, obviously, you could be retired, sitting around watching Judge Judy, hanging in your crossword, and yet you are constantly learning. You're constantly evolving and willing to get out there. In Cabo, I mean, we talked about this. We laughed about it. You were in your camo coming to Cabo. You're just who you are. And I think being authentic and being who you are anywhere in the world just resonates, right? And that's something I admire a lot about you, is that you are who you are. And it doesn't matter who's in front of you. It's still the same Sammie Knight. Camo, Cabo, jet, doesn't matter.
that's right. My dad told me something a long time ago that just has stuck in my mind. And he asked me one day, he said, "Are you teaching other people how to do what you do and how not to make the mistakes you made?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I am." And he said, "When you die, there's going to be a headstone by you. And it's going to say, good father, good husband, good grandfather, but it's not going to say anything about, did you pass on your knowledge to the next generation so that they could make their own mistakes, but make them not as frequent as you." And he told me that day, he said, "Whatever you do, it doesn't matter who it is. If they want to know an answer to a question, answer it. Pass on your knowledge so that they can be better." And I like doing that. It's kind of fun, and it gives me a chance to just say what's on my mind. And if people don't like it, then they don't have to listen to me anymore, It
They
is
don't
what
have
it
to have
is.
Baileys in their coffee with you at breakfast.
That's exactly right. Or sit in their office like me in a pickup, right?
Hey, that's a mighty fine pickup. I got picked up from the airport in that pickup.
That's well, I don't like to show out like that often,
Don't let the camo fool you, folks. He's more than just a pretty face.
That's right. That's right. Like a friend of mine says, is don't let these clothes fool you. I got money.
So I think that is hilarious. And it just shows you, I want all the young people watching, because we live in a world of impressions. We live in a world of sort of what you see on Facebook is reality. And yet, a lot of times, the people with the most money and the most success may just be wearing camo
That's right.
or in the used car, because they're doing all kinds of good work with their money. They're donating their money. They're not looking to be flashy. Nothing wrong with being flashy, obviously. But it just shows that you just cannot judge a book by its cover all the time.
That is so true. And, you know, how many times do we walk away from opportunities because somebody was a little different? I'll give you a great example. My wife and I built a house. My wife of 42 years, by the way. So
Yeah.
that's damn sure one thing I'm not going to change.
Congratulations to your wife and to you.
Thank you. But we built this house and our children moved out and the house was too big for just the two of us. And we had started talking about downsizing a little and selling and, you know, what were we going to do? And this gentleman came by in a van that was kind of beat up and paint was chipping and peeling and he was dressed dirty and, you know, clothes were torn. He came up, knocked on the door and said, I really like your house. Would you be interested in selling it? And my wife said, well, my husband and I have talked about it. And he said, well, I'd be interested in buying it for my daughter. And he left and my wife told me, and I said, really? And she said, yeah. So I called the guy and he came back and he was just like that. And he said, same thing to me. And I said, well, let me show you around. So I did. And he said, I want to buy it. When can you sell it and close? And I said, whenever you're ready. And he said, okay. I said, are you going to need to finance it? You know, I'm trying to make an assumption on this gentleman. And he said, no, I'll pay cash. And I went, oh boy, this guy's reeling me down the road, you know. And I get this phone call from the attorney and they said, he wants to bring the money in a suitcase. I said, that's crazy. And not too long after that, my brother-in-law called me, and who's in the power sports business, and we were talking, and I said, hey, do you know a guy by this name? And he said, oh, yeah, he's one of my biggest customers. He owns like 200 rental houses, 3 pharmacies, and all this stuff. And I went, wow. And I almost judged that book wrong. And so give everybody the credit they deserve.
Yeah, give them a fair shake. I think, you know, a lot of times when you have a big personality too, and I'm saying this because a lot of realtors or business owners, entrepreneurs that will watch this can really understand that sometimes our personalities are larger than life and people do read us wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're larger than life and kind of out there, you do get read wrong sometimes. And whether you're quiet or you're that person that's out in the front, we're all people. We're all just people, and people by and large want to be accepted. They want to be liked. They want community, and they want to belong. And so if you can be that person for somebody else, it doesn't take away anything from me to be able to include somebody else or reach out to somebody else and encourage them when they may have something going on that's difficult. Being a business owner is not for the faint of heart. I mean, I had no idea when I stopped being an individual agent and had this brilliant idea to really run a business, the ups and downs that would come with it, and how tremendous amount of encouragement for myself, not from others, from inside here, emotional intelligence, blinders, thick skin, all the things. I had no idea. If I had known, I some days I probably would have gone back to just selling real estate on my own, because it's not the same thing, right?
No, it's not at all. And people, it goes back to what I said at the start. They're the most valuable asset, and if we give it the respect it deserves. Hey, and look, not everybody deserves the respect, okay? But if we give it the respect it deserves, it works, and we win, and you know, and they win. And how good of a transaction can you have if everybody wins? It's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Right. All the way from the courier to the transaction coordinator to the agents. I mean, it's just a full process. Or in any kind of business, you know, it doesn't matter what role you play, but when it goes great, everybody wins, right?
Yeah. That's the way I like to see it happen, you know. And I like to see people grow. I love seeing today, it's more now than ever, but these young folks coming along, or you're one of them, but this millennial I keep hearing about, and I guess that's what my kids are, you know.
They are.
I have different names for them sometimes. It's not millennial. but I see all these young folks growing, and man, everything we can do to help them be better than we were, and build a bigger future. I think everybody should roll their sleeves up and jump in and offer your assistance, because I mean, obviously we hear about that's our next generation that's going to take care of us when we're in those aging years. But it's nothing, not a bigger compliment to look over your shoulder and see somebody successful that you touched.
Mm-hmm.
A guy told me a long time ago I worked for, he said the best compliment a guy in business could ever have, that's a chopper. They're not coming after me, though. I want everybody to understand it. He said the greatest compliment you could have is that one day somebody you trained is your boss. And that guy that told me that, one day I was his boss.
Mm.
And man, I just stuck my thumb in my suspenders and said, I've accomplished what he said. And that's the way I think we got to approach helping everybody coming on board in the real estate world or mortgage or whatever it may be. If it's mowing the lawn, it is take them there.
Yeah. Because I think it's, sometimes I think people look at maybe you owning a brokerage or me running this team as only a financial benefit. And I would say if I was only in this for money, I would be selling real estate on my own and doing my own thing with a couple of assistants and just working a lot, right?
Mm.
For me, the goal is to teach others what I have learned in a pretty quick amount of time and help them succeed.
Yeah.
And I think so many people who start a business, they want to provide opportunities for other folks, right? By us getting up and doing this every day, I'm providing opportunities for folks to be able to support their family and to learn as people and to grow as people. And even on the worst day, yesterday wasn't a great day. It must be something in the universe. I don't know, but everything went wrong at our office yesterday. And I kept looking around saying, is this a joke? This next thing would happen and the next thing would happen. And even this morning we had that horrific, tornado in our town, and this on and on and on. And yet at the end of the day, we have people, we have each other, and it is worth it. You have to just sometimes take a step back and take a deep breath and remember why you started what you did. And remember why you started. I think that's a famous saying for a reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to work with a group of guys in one of the companies I was involved with, and all my sales guys, and I would bring them in, and we'd talk about growth and where we got to take the company and the dollars and all the good stuff that you have to do as salespeople. And I'd always start my meeting. We had a lady that worked in the company, and she was a hardworking lady and wasn't paid a lot of money, but loved her job. And I'd tell every one of those guys in that room, guys and gals, the very first thing is our responsibility is to make sure that she gets food and her kids get food and she has a house. And if you ever walk out of this room and your focus is on just your place, you'll fail. So wake up every day and think about, how am I going to do my part to help her, because she helps me every day inside the company.
Right.
And so I try to instill that in everybody, that if we work for the common goal and a better for all, and keep that in our mind and not just let it be lip service, the business will take care of itself.
That's right.
It
always does.
Yeah, you'll look at the bottom line and go, where did that come from? What did we do? I don't remember that happening. It's just because everybody took care of everybody else.
Yeah.
That's critical.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that is, Russell Harper already said this is also great. You probably can't see the comments because you're on your phone, but I know everybody watching is just enamored and thrilled that you are sharing all of your wisdom. Anything else that you would share before we wrap up so you can get back to I'm guessing you're making breakfast for everybody.
Well, I did already. 4:00 this morning, my usual rise, and I got in there and had the coffee hot, and I made a breakfast casserole, and everybody got fed. I have a rule, first thing in the morning, you have got to eat your breakfast. It's the only way to start the day, and I got that from my dad. So I did that, and then I rousted everybody and said, let's go and hit the road, you know, and
Right.
attack this world. But, you know, the best thing I'm going to say in closing is real simple. It's people, people, people. And if you do that and you believe that and you live that, the rest of it takes care of itself. Thanks for the opportunity. What an honor.
Hey, thank you for always watching and supporting me, and for always being, I mean, we were texting at 4 o'clock this morning. You are such an encouragement to me. You are such a fabulous mentor and friend. And I want you to know I don't ever take that for granted. And I just honor our friendship, and can't wait till we can spend some more time together and get to go to breakfast. I hope you're coming to Peachtree City, Georgia soon.
I will. I won't be in camo, though. I'll dress up a little nicer. I may have on a T-shirt and flip-flops.
I'll be disappointed, but we'll make it happen.
Thanks so much.
You are awesome. Thank you for being here. You guys have a great day. For more information about Sammie, where can they find you, Sammie?
Out here hunting in South Texas right now.
Sammie is in Oxford, Mississippi. If you
That's right.
him, you will find him all over the place. So if you want to reach out to Sammie or learn more about him and his businesses, please do so. For more information about our program, go to michellehumes.com. And I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Thanks, Sammie.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.